Right when I go to film, I start losing the light. Go figure. Hello lovelies and welcome back to another video. I have been getting so many DMs, questions, comments about Parsons, about how I feel about first year, what professors y'all should be taking, why I would pick the new school, why I wouldn't pick the new school. So I figured, hey, let's just turn them into a video, because if one person has that question, I'm sure there's another one that does too, and this way you can get all the answers that you need in one little place. Alright, so I've got my computer right here with my nice little note containing all of your guys' questions, and let's just jump into it. Alright, so the first question I got is, how many courses do you have to take for first year? So first year you have to take Integrative Studio 1 and 2, Integrative Seminar 1 and 2, Drawing and Imaging, Sustainable Systems, Objects of History, Time, and Space and Materiality. So 7 courses total. However, and you also have to take a first year elective. So Integrative Studio and Seminar are tied together. Your Integrative Studio teacher, if you get a good Integrative Studio and Seminar teacher, will work together for your project. So you'll do like your work in Integrative Seminar, which is like kind of your freshman comp English requirement, will correspond to the artwork that you are doing in Integrative Studio. Integrative Studio is a more open class, so you kind of get to translate the projects into whatever medium you want, into your style, into like maybe your major, if that's what you're more comfortable in working in. So a good example would be that we got a composite portrait project in Integrative Studio, and what you had to do in Integrative Seminar was interview your partner, create interview questions, and like do a write-up on that. And then in Integrative Studio, you had to take aspects of both your partner's life and your own life and do a composite portrait. So my composite portrait, insert photo somewhere around here, was actually a paper vest. And what I did was I made the pattern for it, and then I cut the pattern out of tracing paper, and then I used pen and watercolor to do like my partner's prom dress, my partner's graduation dress, my graduation dress. I drew like MSP to New York City, Boston to New York City, Walnut Hill School for the Arts, like Thomas Jefferson High School, like her selfie face, my selfie face, and I put all of those elements onto this vest. Versus like some kids who did, you know, the more traditional type of portrait where they like blended kind of faces together. I know a girl in my class who did kind of like a bust where she did like her partner's face on one side and her face on the other, and she like molded it, or not molded it, but cast it with plaster, which was so cool and so work involved. I'm not 100% sure how she managed to get that done because that was an ambitious project. You have to take Objects of History one semester and then Sustainable Systems the other. So Objects of History is like if you ever took AP World History, it's very similar. An art history course, it's very similar. Sustainable Systems is an environmental science course. I don't love it. I'm currently growing kombucha leather in my dorm room for that course. And I also have a bag of fungus here that I'm supposed to start growing for that course too. So, yeah, not my favorite class, but you gotta take it because the new school is a leader in sustainability. Yeah, I saw water running in our cafeteria for 15 minutes unattended the other day, so if someone ever tries to tell you that, I got video. Drawing and Imaging is a 2D course. It's basically as it sounds. Some teachers do it kind of more illustration, like sketching heavy, and then some teachers do more like digital art, Photoshop heavy with that course, like photography heavy. So really just look at Rate My Professor and see what people are saying about them before you sign up for it. I have Margaret Hurst for that class. She is wonderful. She is fantastic. Highly recommend. Which ties into another question, which is, which professors do you recommend? So for Space and Materiality, that's a 3D art course. I could basically only tell you which professor I don't recommend for that, but I'm not going to roast people apart. Actually, I have a whole long list of professors I don't recommend, which you can definitely DM me for over here on Instagram, and I will be happy to send over that list because I want to save some people, but I don't want to roast anyone publicly. So DM me if you want the list of professors I do not recommend. Space and Materiality is a 3D art course. You will be working a lot with wire. Blick, which is right around the corner from the school, it's like on the same block as the school, is going to be out of wire basically always because everyone in Space and Materiality needs it, and then there's other majors who need it too. So if you're taking Space and Materiality, do yourself a favor. Amazon Prime that wire to you. Make sure you have it in different gauges and different types of wire. You're going to want copper, you're going to want galvanized steel, you're going to want like 18 gauge, 14 gauge, 12 gauge. Amazon Prime that to you. It's discounted for students. It's like free for 6 months. I'm not even sure if I have a referral link, but if I do, I'll leave it down below. Blick will always be out, and you will be so stressed out if you don't have the wire, and you will also be like, your grade will be screwed if you don't. So just keep on top of that. I think I paid like easily $250 in wire, at least. Then there's time. Time is a 4D course. I didn't completely understand what 4D art was until someone explained it to me like this. 4D art is art that needs to be experienced through time. So books, magazines, videos, things like that, music. So in that course I actually learned a lot about Adobe Creative Cloud, Photoshop, InDesign, Adobe Premiere Pro. Now I love Adobe Creative Cloud. Like, the school gives you it for 5 years and it's amazing. Saves lives. I use it every single day. Lightroom is my favorite thing in the world. If you're taking time, take Joseph Ayers. He is wonderful, fantastic, so nice, so laid back. It was like a 9 a.m. course and he totally understood that like we were all half awake and half of us were going to show up late to every single class because it's a 9 a.m. course. He's wonderful. Take Joseph Ayers. And for integrative seminar, take David Gibbs because he's also awesome and our whole class loved him and we just all had such a good time in that class. Moving on. Is financial aid decent? Does the school offer need-based and merit scholarships? Need-based, not so much. The school claims they offer need-based scholarships. I have yet to actually meet someone who has one. And I know a lot of people who tried to go to the financial aid office and like fight them on it and get need-based financial aid and they could not get it. The school is definitely a lot heavier on merit scholarships. They really pride themselves in their merit scholarships. I would say they offer like maybe 50% of students merit, but it's important to note that the school will tell you that they offer, you know, like 50% merit or whatever, or like on the Forbes they'll say like 50% of kids are on merit scholarship. So many people I know are on merit scholarship, but they only were offered like a few $1,000s, I think like $7,000, and then I don't know that many people that were offered more than $7,000. In the grand scheme of things, when tuition's like $70,000 total, $7,000 is not a ton of money. If you were at a state school, that would be a lot of money. Are there valedictorians and salutatorians? I actually have no idea. I haven't heard. Graduation is quickly approaching. I have not heard anything about it, so we're going to do a cute little Google search. Okay, I'm on the first page of Google and I'm not seeing anything about a Parsons valedictorian anywhere on there, so I'm going to assume that we don't have them. Honestly, for me, it's really not a big deal. In choosing a college, I really don't care. It's more important to me, like, the quality of the education and what the school can offer me over 4 years versus, like, being valedictorian. That's just me, though. I know some people are really into it. On a scale from 1 to ridiculous, how hard is the course load? This might be my favorite question that I have ever gotten. So basically everything I ever read about Parsons before coming to the school was, this school will take your soul, your social life, and your money. This school will take your soul, your social life, and your money. This school will take your soul, your social life, and your money. And I will say, the school is definitely capable of taking all of those things, especially if you have the wrong professors. I don't know how my friends sign up for courses without Rate My Professor, because every single name on the course catalog will be entered into Rate My Professor for me. Like, I cannot risk getting a bad professor at the school because I know how coursework heavy some of them can be, and I got one and I wanted to cry all semester because like my entire class would be in the making center until like 4 a.m. every night. We had to create like all of these like wire structures and wire triangles, and she was very picky, and like every single angle had to measure exactly the same. Every single side length had to be exactly the same down to the millimeter. All of the wire, before we could start working with it, had to be like entered into a drill and straightened. And it was so much work. And like we had our classes Wednesdays and Friday, and she would assign it Wednesday, that much amount of work for Friday. And I'll insert all of the wire structures I was expected to do between Wednesday and Friday right here because it was crazy. I don't think I actually have photos of all of them, but if I do, they're going like right around here. And then I have some teachers like Joseph Ayers who were absolutely wonderful and gave us time to work on our projects in class and were very helpful and very supportive and didn't give me answers like, or my friends' answers like, office hours, I don't know, my schedule's kind of busy. Like, they were always willing to help. So again, Joseph Ayers, David Gibbs, Margaret Hurst, if you see them on the first year registration, take their classes. They are wonderful. If you want the list of teachers I don't recommend, and again, that list is a lot longer, DM me. I will send it to you. No problem. So I guess my answer to that question is that the coursework is anywhere from like your typical AP class to like completely ridiculous, you will have no life. It's definitely not a 1. Very far away from a 1. If you want a school that's like a 1 that you can like just party all the time and like not really have to get any work done, go to like some state party school. Don't come here because you will fail out of first year if that's the case. There's just like so many projects that require like manual like labor, like making to be put in, that you just like can't cheat your way around, that it's way too hard to slack off here and still pass classes. To be fair, like one time in a tabloid we were called a hard partying hippie school, and while I can't say that's completely wrong, people here know how to get down and work. What's the best place to dorm? Which dorm site is closest to the academic building? And can you room alone? The best place to dorm, I have 2 answers to this question. Carey Hall is brand new, it's beautiful, it is gorgeous, it is amazing. That's definitely like the top dorm on campus. It's also the most expensive. And when I say it's the most expensive, I mean it's the most expensive in the United States. And then Loeb Hall, I personally like Loeb better than Carey for the location. The new school has academic buildings from like Soho all the way through the East Village. So it's hard to say that it like you kind of have to specify which academic building you're talking about for me to give you a good answer on this. But if you're at Parsons, the main Parsons buildings and everything are in and around the University Center. Carey Hall is on top of the University Center. Our University Center goes to like floor 7, and then that's where like Carey Hall begins and it goes up. All new school dorms are the most expensive dorms in the United States. As of 2016, the College Board reported that we had the most expensive housing, and it was $17,000 a year. Yeah, it's a lot more than that now, and it's definitely a lot more when you add your like meal plan on top of that. And I can't say for the other dorms that number is completely, actually I can't say for any of our dorms that number is completely justifiable. My dorm is like the same quality as like my friends' dorms at the University of Minnesota. The only difference is that like I have like a small kitchen in mine and they don't. But I like Loeb for the location because it's kind of in between the East Village and the school, and like for me, I don't want to be living on top of my school because I know that even when I'm out of school, I'm always like at school, I'm always around that, and sometimes you just need space to like get away from that and breathe and like go explore New York City. So I like to really get out and I like to really experience new things, and for that reason I don't want to live like right at the school. But Carey is the nicest dorm. It's all brand new. Can you room by yourself? You can room alone. Just request a single. Since most of our dorms are suite style, you might get suite mates. So if you are requesting a single and you really, really just don't want to live with people, make sure that you're requesting a single in one of our dorms that doesn't have suites. But I would recommend living in a suite just because our only dining hall on campus is at the University Center. The dorm that I live in is a 15-minute walk from there, and let me tell you, when it's like 9 p.m. and you want food and you're hungry, you don't want to walk 15 minutes to our dining hall, which also, by the way, is only open until 8 p.m. So for the purpose of being able to make food for yourself, stay in a suite. We have kitchens and like a full-size fridge. It's really nice. Are there a lot of cross-double majors? I want to major in creative writing and something at Parsons. I do know quite a few double majors. Our double majors are in a program called BAFA, and a lot of them are majoring in like strategic design, and I think there's maybe one other major at Parsons you can do that program with, and then they're majoring in something at Lang. I know a lot of people who are majoring in like economics or finance or something along those lines. I believe like our official double major program between Parsons and Lang is BAFA, and that is like the strategic design thing. That is a 5-year program. You cannot double major and get done here in 4 years. Parsons limits you to 18 credits a semester, and they only recommend you take 15, and even taking 15 is a ton of work just because of like the class hours. Like I just registered for fall semester for fashion design for my sophomore year, and I have to take 2 6-hour studios, 2 3-hour studios, like a 3-hour like lecture and something else. Just finding time to do coursework in between all those classes, and then also like trying to think about taking more classes on top of that frightens me and kind of makes me very stressed out just at the idea. You would have to talk to your counselor about trying to major in anything other than those and not doing BAFA. I don't know if it's entirely possible. I would think that you would have to do several more years of school to get that done, just because of how the individual programs are set up. And with the BAFA program, they've like eliminated some like Parsons credits and some Lang credits like get that done. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I know for first year like you don't have to take the full first year program because you replace some of the Parsons first year classes with classes at Lang. Do you take a minor at Parsons? I do have a minor at Parsons. I'm about to declare it. I'm about to change it actually. Your minor will start your sophomore year. You will not be allowed to take any classes for your minor first year. Originally I was going to minor in political science, and then I got here and I realized how biased a lot of our professors are and how politically polarized the school is. And I was like, you know what? Not the best idea. So then I was like, oh, maybe I should do journalism. And I was like, I guess I could do like fashion journalism. I don't really know if I want to do that. However, I've been doing social media consulting, and I've also been blogging and doing a lot of social media marketing with that for the last 5 or so years. So naturally, fashion communications is a perfect fit because that's more social media marketing focused. So I'm about to declare my minor in fashion communications. We will see if it sticks because the fashion design program here is a ton of work and it's already a lot of class hours. But I'm going to try. And the nice thing too is if you're at Parsons, you can minor in something at Lang. So you don't have to minor in something at Parsons. You mentioned that you also got into Central St. Martin's. Did you apply to FIT? Did you get into FIT, and why didn't you choose FIT? Yes, I was also accepted into CSM. I went to London, decided it wasn't a perfect fit. I actually did tour FIT the same trip to New York that I came and toured Parsons, which was back in July of 2016. And it just did not sit with me. I was not a fan. The buildings were not inspirational. They were concrete and hard and cold and reminded me of something like a prison or my former high school, neither of which I ever want to be in again. Okay, I've never been in prison, let me clarify. But my former high school, I never want to be in prison, and I never want to be in my former high school again. So, to clarify, I have no criminal record, thank you. Even like the people we talked to at FIT, they weren't really that welcoming. They were kind of rude, to be honest, and they refused to let me talk to an admissions counselor. Like, when I came to Parsons, I was with an admissions counselor right away, and they were so friendly and helpful. And at FIT, they just like refused to let me talk to one, which was so annoying. Everything I read about FIT, everything I was told from FIT about their school, they don't have as many resources to offer as Parsons did, or as many opportunities to offer as Parsons did, which is fair because they're a state school and they don't have the same funding as Parsons does. You have to remember that Parsons is a private school, so like there is quite a bit more money coming into the school for things like that, for things as incredible as our making center with, you know, our laser cutters and our knitting machines and 3D printers and embroidery and embellishment machines and things like that are so cool to be able to use. And actually one of our open workspaces in the Making Center was shown in this video here. It was a project I did for my time class, and it was like how to make a paper dress. Anyway, FIT just wasn't the school for me. I really want to work in luxury haute couture, and Parsons is really the school for that. We just got ranked 2nd in the world for both art and design and fashion design, so Parsons proud or whatever the school is going on about on social media now. Yeah, it's an amazing place, and as far as like opportunities go, like we just had, like, I guess a few months ago, we had the editor-in-chief of Women's Wear Daily come and speak at the school. Gucci a couple weeks ago was just here. They had their director of HR and hiring, and their director of hiring in New York City talking to Parsons. They had some exclusive opportunities that they were offering to Parsons students first and prioritizing Parsons students for, which was incredible. We've had hiring managers for like Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, Valentino, all sorts of places come into the school for career fairs, or I know there's an event on Wednesday that they're doing like 6 people from like Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, and like a couple other places. I think Chloe, a few others that are coming to talk to us about hiring and like building your portfolio and things like that, which is really, really cool. Just opportunities like that really pushed this school for me over CSM or FIT. Plus, like, I came and they're like, yeah, Vera Wang was just at the school speaking. She's here a lot. And I was like, okay. One of my favorite designers. It's fine. Are there a lot of business and marketing courses? Yes. My friend actually is minoring in creative entrepreneurship. She just declared that a couple days ago. There are creative and entrepreneurship courses. There's classes you can take that are geared towards marketing or like economics and finance that you can take at Lang. There's so many options if you want to get that business education. And for me, I actually was very, very close to going to a completely different college for business instead. Part of what really appealed to me about Parsons was that like CSM and FIT, they're very strictly just like art and design. But Parsons, because it also has Lang, Copa, Manus, you're able to get a more kind of well-rounded education versus like just art, you know? Where are people getting jobs and internships? I've had friends get jobs and internships everywhere from like the smallest design startup to like major news networks. I think some of that is less tangent on the school and more about what you put in and make yourself different outside of school. So you have to work really hard in school, obviously, to get good grades and graduate. But you also have to work really hard outside of school to get your name out there, build your portfolio, build your brand, network, things like that. The school can give you every single connection, every single opportunity through their events and through their alumni network. But at the end of the day, if you're not the type of person to like hustle and work hard and like really want this and make it a point to try to like go out and accomplish something, you're not going to get opportunities. All right, so my final question is, what do you think of first year? I'm really nervous about doing first year. I was too. I'm not artsy. I would not consider myself an artist. The only art classes I've ever taken are like ceramics related. So I'm trained in ceramics, but like I cannot draw for my life. And I was like, I'm gonna fail out of first year. Like I'm not gonna even get to fashion design classes because I'm going to fail out of first year. Not the case. I actually came here, did surprisingly well. I'm so grateful that I did do first year because it's taught me so much about kind of how to think and how to process inspiration and how to design, really. Like, there's a collection I released earlier this year, insert photos here, which you can find on my Redbubble or on my portfolio website, that would not have been possible if I hadn't taken space and materiality. I just would have never had the patience and like the skill and the idea to do that. I know for a lot of people, the foundation year, first year thing is kind of a turnoff because you're like, oh, I just want to jump into my major. You will have 3 years to do your major, and what they teach you in the Parsons first year is really, really important, and it's really, really changed how I look at design, and it's really, really improved me as a designer especially. So don't worry about it. You will find a way to get through it. First year, like, yeah, sometimes I hate it, and sometimes I'm like, I cannot draw for another minute because I just don't like doing it and I just don't want to. And the professors here will push you. Like, the professors I had first semester specifically knew how to push me. I knew how to, like, make me do my best work and get me to go farther than I think I could go without breaking me. And even though, like, they would push me, like, right until I was about at my breaking point, and that's when they're like, this is your best work. Like, this is what we wanted from you. And when I specifically remember one studio project I did that I looked at the first draft of it I did and what I thought was my best work and what I thought was great work and that, you know, was the best I could do with this project. And then I looked at my final version of that project and I was like, how did I get from point A to point B? Like, I don't know. Like, this is not something I would have ever thought I would have created, but I did it now, and it's, like, one of my favorite things I did. And that was actually my very first project I ever did at this school, and just seeing that was such a cool moment for me. So don't worry about first year. It's not all bad. And, again, you'll have 3 years to do your major, and the stuff you do learn in first year is important to that. So highly recommend this school. I don't think I could say it, you know, any more times, but it really, really has turned out to be one of the best decisions I've made, which is a good thing because I know for all of you, the May 1st deadline is coming up, and for me, that was like one of the most stressful days ever because I could not decide if I was doing CSM or Parsons at the time. I made the decision. It was the right decision for me. And if you have any other questions for me regarding Parsons or any of the schools I mentioned, you are more than welcome to send me a DM over here on Instagram. I'm at Eva_fun. I check my DM requests daily, so I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Finals are coming up, so I can't promise it's going to be super quick, but I will do my best to answer them within the same day or like 2 or 3 days. I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck on making your decision, and I will see you next time. Bye, loves.